Hey guys, welcome back to the Grant Mitt Podcast, episode number 95. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about how to have the it factor. People who have the it factor are running the world. They are the best business owners, the best athletes, the best artists. They are incredible at what they do. And at every scale, you will find someone in that specific group, that community, that area that just has something that you can't teach. Now, what is this? Is this something that is God-given and they just have it and you'll never have it? Or is it something that can be developed? After experiencing my ups and downs in my journey, I realized that this is something that can be developed. Just a lot of people aren't willing to do what it takes to have it. So in this episode, I'm going to break this down in detail. And as I mentioned in the last podcast, I am taking on 10 new people to work with one-on-one for the next 6 months to absolutely blow up your business, scale what you guys do. In the description below, guys, there's a link that says grantmittcoaching.com. Click that link to apply. And if the application is approved, someone from my team will coordinate with you and see if it's a good fit. So let's talk about how to have the it factor. So let's first talk about the people that are successful. The one unique trait in every industry that there is, each one of these people are completely unique. They're almost like movie characters. When you think about these really, really successful athletes, artists, business people, even just people that are big time in their community and doing great things and making great change or running a successful business, they are their most 100% authentic self. You can just tell. They almost kind of just don't really care what anybody thinks about them, not in a aggressive or toxic way, but they're just happy with who they are. The one God-given ability that every single person has is a uniqueness that you cannot replicate. Think of something as simple as there's over 7, almost 8 billion people in the world, and everyone has a unique voice. Their tone sounds different. 7 to 8 billion people, everyone has a unique personality. You see this a lot of times in family. I have a lot of friends that are starting to have kids, which is wild to think about. But one thing that they were telling me, one of my good friends, Zach, has 3 kids now, and he's my same age. We grew up playing Little League football together since we were 5 years old. He said, man, it's so interesting because my friend Zach is a high school football coach, so he's great at managing. He's great at managing people. He's good at leadership, and he understands kids' minds. And he's like, it's so interesting because not only are all three of his kids so different and so unique, but what works on parenting one of those kids will not work for the next one. They're all so unique. And all kids have this trait, but a lot of times as we get older, we start conforming to the rules that society gives us or the things that people tell you to do. So you end up in this random circumstance, in this random relationship, this random city, and you have no idea how you even got there. It was not even a conscious decision. You just kind of floated around and ended up there because that's what the world told you to do. Now, I'm not telling you that you have to make this amount of money or have this type of job or have this much progress in your business to have the it factor. What I'm telling you is you have to have intention and live the life that you want, whatever that may look like. Not what I would want, not what your mom would want, your friends, someone that you work with. You have to make that decision consciously. And when you become and you operate in your most authentic self, not only do you meet the right people and the wrong ones fall off, but you end up getting into situations that truly fit who you are as a person. You cannot have the it factor, the thing that you can't teach per se, is what people say, unless you're you. Whatever that looks like. So let's go through everything. All right. There's 3 processes to do this, and every single person can improve at this. And just these 3 things, plug and play, will alter not only the way that you think, but the results that you have in whatever you do in life and want to do. Number 1, question everything. The first thing that you need to assess when you're listening to this, when you're listening to a clip on social media, if you turn on Fox, CNN, the news, Twitter, and someone is trying to get you to do something or believe something, If you immediately believe them or you immediately do what they say without hesitation, and now it's different if you had a trust built, the credibility's there, and you trust their words. But if they say, hey, this is happening in downtown Houston, and you just automatically assume the way that they said it, it's automatically happening, you're being controlled. If you have a teacher or a parent that's telling you need to do this degree or have this job, and if you don't, this and this is going to happen, they may be right. And that news statement or that tweet or that video may be right. I'm not saying that it's suddenly wrong. But your first instinct should be to question everything and ask simple first principles on, why are they saying this? What company is this? What does this company believe in? What does this person believe in? What is this person's motives? Why do they want them to do this? I'll give you an example, and this is the importance of, I don't want to get into this whole rabbit hole, but a family unit, a difference between a feminine mother and a masculine father. A mother, a lot of times you'll see videos of this and you just experience this growing up. Women are more feminine by nature, and they love and they want to protect their kids and they want them to feel good. So if the kid messes up, spills stuff everywhere, does things that's not supposed to, it's in the mom's, not always, but it's a lot of times it's instinctive to, oh, you're not supposed to do that. It's okay. Come here, and comfort them, because that's their role. And that's what makes mothers great. But a masculine figure, a lot of times could punish them, get them in trouble. And that's a hard thing to do, to punish a child. Make a difficult call. But without being tough on them, they don't actually learn what they should and shouldn't do. You could look at this a lot of times. I've seen this with a lot of people I've grown up with, and a lot of people I've worked with, mentored, whatever the case may be, hired at companies, is they will have a spouse or a family member that is pushing them to take a job where they make a lot less money, but it's consistent. And the reason why that person wants them to do that thing is not because they don't think that they can be successful, but they're scared that if they're not, they will fail. And so indirectly, they are sabotaging that person's success to do something that's so small from what they were created to do that they never achieve the things that they want. So while that person has the best interest at heart, they want them to be successful, they're actually sabotaging that person's life. So if the person that's taking that advice isn't confident, or if they don't have enough high self-esteem and self-belief to know that they can go after these things and it's okay to fail, they will listen to small-minded people that still love them and care for them, and they won't be their authentic self. You can't have the it factor. You can't do big, massive things in your life if you're listening to small-minded people. You have to protect your goals. You have to protect your self-esteem. You have to protect your dreams. I have a rule now that I implemented probably 4 or 5 years ago that I do not tell 99% of people my plans and goals. There's less than probably 5 to 6 people that know some of the goals and targets that I have. And it's only because they're my closest confidants. I could tell them anything. They believe in me as much or more than I believe in myself. But the reason why I don't is because I don't need to tell people who, they could be my great friends, but it's not their job to believe in me. It's not their job to hype me up. They have their own insecurities and problems just like anybody else in the world. But the reason why I say this is if I tell them that, and they say things that make me think smaller or make me question what I'm doing, it's going to affect my approach. I don't care how tough you are. When you hear someone go, that's not going to work. I don't know. You're not too good at that. You were hitting those calls a lot more confidently. And now you hear that, you might start second guessing yourself. You may start thinking a little bit different. You might start playing it a little bit more safe. Protect your goals. It is so important. Question everything. Okay, they may be right, but always keep an open mind. Okay, 2, if you think like everybody else, expect to live like everyone else too. realize that if you want to have the it factor, you want to achieve things that no one in your family or community has ever achieved before, you're going to have to think different. This is confusing and uncomfortable. The reason why I say this is we're in a system that in society is pushing everyone to believe certain things, to think like certain people. And it's difficult because to achieve things that those people aren't achieving, you're going to have to learn and seek knowledge and expertise and coaching and development and peers and friends that think different than the rest of the world. I have a rule that says I only surround myself with winners. That doesn't mean you have to be a billionaire at this moment, but you have to be winning at what you're doing. That doesn't matter if you're the best teacher in the world. You're the most incredible person in finance. You don't have to have all this monetary success, but you have to be a winner. You have to be motivated. You have to think big. You have to be a positive, supportive person, because that's how I'm going to be in the friend group. And if I'm not around those people, it'll create a crutch and mess up your psychology as a person. It'll mess up your mindset. And if you've ever experienced this, go hang out just one time with someone that's doing so good that makes you realize you're not doing anything in life, and watch how successful your next week is. Just being around that energy shifts everything. It's just the way you think. Deals start flying out of nowhere. Opportunities start flying out of nowhere because you're around like-minded people. So a good way to do this is simply in first principles, reverse engineer the information you need to learn to become the person you want to become. So if you're at a company and you're brand new and you're entering the sales arena and you want to figure out how to become the top salesperson, the first thing I would ask is, who is the number one sales rep now? How long have they been there? What skill sets do they possess? What information do they know? Then expand it broader. Who are the best influencer persuaders and salespeople in the world? What are their skill sets? What things are they better at than anybody else? What information, friends, and people do they consistently surround themselves with to learn and develop the skill sets that they have? So what you can start doing is, okay, if 99 people are doing these things and one person is doing these things, and I have natural skill sets, you have natural skill sets, all we have to do is train and develop ourselves with this information that no one else is looking at, and you will eventually become that person. You will have the it factor, the difference that no one else has. You would be shocked at how little amount of people in this earth do not take advantages of the free resources in the world. No matter where you're at, if you have internet, you have access to more information than kings and presidents from 100 years ago. But why do we not use this information? You can learn almost anything for free on the internet right now, but we rarely do it. If you don't do these things, it's going to be very difficult to have the it factor and to be and achieve things that no one else has ever really achieved around you, in your family, or in your neighborhood. Okay? Number 3, this is the most simple but most important. Change action equals change results. If you do the same damn thing over and over again, you cannot expect anything or anyone around you, and most importantly yourself, to change. You have to take actionable steps that equal success. I was talking to a business owner recently. He runs a staffing company, and he made all these great changes, and it's amazing on the operations side. So he started delegating a lot of tasks, but then he said, well, Grant, the majority of our business, 90%, is referral based. And he goes, how do we grow those sales? How do we grow our sales side? How do we double our revenue? And I said, okay, well, let's take a look at this. I said, number one, if 90% of your business is referrals, that's a good thing and a bad thing. The good thing is that you have a great product. If you have that much returning customers, that means you're doing an amazing job. But if you have 90% referrals, that means you aren't executing at sales. And without looking at anything, I know something is not right there. I said, walk me through your sales process. How many sales guys do you have? What is their day-to-day? He said, well, I have one. I said, okay, because it's a smaller business. What is his sales process? He goes, well, he usually just reaches out to people, every day. And I said, how many calls does he make a day? He goes, well, it depends. Some days it's this, some days it's that. I'm like, okay, well, what else does he do? He goes, this and this. What is he saying on those calls? Well, usually just the basics, blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, what's his set rate on new meetings? He's like, I don't know, Grant. And I said, okay, what's the pitch rate? He goes, I don't know. I said, how many has he onboarded in the last 3 months? He's like, I mean, I could look, but I'm not sure. And I said, you have an incredible business, but no offense. Like, this is why you're not winning in sales. If you don't know your numbers and if you don't have a system to equal success, system, not motivation, you can't expect that to grow. So what I did is I worked with him one-on-one to build the system. And this is a 1.0 version of this. This is sometimes how simple this is. I said, how many calls, outreaches, emails, and cold calls can he make a day realistically with his current roles, current obligations within the company, can he make on the high end? He said minimum 80. I said, okay, cool. So you're saying right now he's probably averaging 30 or 40 that you think he's making, which you don't know, so he could be making none. He goes, yes. I said, okay. So if he makes 80 a day, 5 days a week, that means he's going to make 400 calls. Realistically, what is the set rate of people that, like, when he reaches out to people, what's the chance that they're going to actually book a meeting? He said, I don't know. I said, that's another problem. So let's just guess that it's a 3.5% conversion. Okay, so let's do the math on that. 3.5% conversion. That means out of all of those outreaches, 80 a day, if he has a 3.5% set rate to meet with new qualified potential customers, this would be business owners, recruiters, whatever the case may be, he would set 14 appointments. And I said, how many has he set in a week? He said, on a good week, 5, on a bad week, 1. I said, okay, there we go. So assuming he only sets a 3.5% conversion, which is low, he could literally do more probably in a month in 1 week of new potential sale opportunities. And then we started breaking down all the other areas and all the other conversions. And what we found is it's extremely simple to absolutely accelerate and hyperscale his company because the product's so good, but he had no guarantee system for success. And so we talked about, okay, we're going to have this sales rep every single day. He's going to input into a spreadsheet how many outreaches he's had, how many answers he had, and how many set appointments. And then they're going to track who shows up to the appointments, how many you close, and then what is fulfilled after being closed. And I was like, I need all of that data ready to be tracked by next Monday. And he's like, got it. And we're already seeing results. So you see what I mean? And he told me, he's like, Grant, I love this sales rep. He's motivated, he's humble, he's everything. And as great as he sounds, he's not winning because his actions are sporadic. You can't be the best of the best in the world unless you move differently. You have to think different. You have to take different actions. But you can say all this motivational stuff over and over again, but if you're not taking tangible steps forward, you're not going to achieve success. As talented as this sales rep is, we will see. I guarantee he'll probably pop on another podcast. And if I don't talk about it again, DM me and I'll tell you what ends up happening with this situation. But you take a really talented person and you implement process into their operation, it creates massive success. Massive success. And so that's how you have to start moving. LeBron James spends over $1 million a year on his preparedness and his body and his health. That's why he's 40 years old, still probably the best basketball player in the world. Hopefully, knock on wood, they win the Olympics in Paris. So you have to start moving differently if you want to have the it factor. Lastly, I'm going to throw this in. If you cannot handle pressure and stress, you cannot be the best of the best. I'm going to be 100% blunt with you guys. The bulk of people in our society today, and I know everyone that listens to is different. You guys are motivated, locked in, but I'm going to be real with you. People underestimate what it actually takes. If you're only taking 3-4 chances, that's nothing. Sometimes the answer is just pushing forward more. Everything you want is on the other side of discipline and focus. And the discipline that you're not taking and focusing on is the difference between you being average and you being elite. And you can beat the bulk of your competition by just showing up, being consistent, and doing the things that you're supposed to do. Because look, this is what happens. You wake up one day and it's been a couple years and you're suddenly freaking amazing. I saw this in sales. By about the second year, everything just clicked. And I didn't read this secret book, talk to this special person. It just, all of that effort and appointments and rejection and knowledge and development compounded into one result of compounding success. And the same thing, if it already hasn't happened, is going to happen for you as well. But you have to start moving differently to have the it factor. So hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. As always, you can find me on all my social media channels. If you guys would like to apply for any of the development and coaching, go in the description below, grantmentcoaching.com to apply. As always, I'll see you guys again for episode 96. Thanks, guys. Hope you have an incredible week.